Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today's a bit of a musings video and I wanted to show a couple of basic products just in this camera view. So a lot of the stuff I've been showing over the last couple of months have been things related to cartridges and different brands of cartridge and cartridge stoppers and all of these sorts of products. And a lot of that is because the more I tour or travel as a singer, which is great that it's all sort of starting back up, but the more I do that, the easier it is for me to travel using my fountain pens with cartridges. And now that is something that a lot of people, there are a lot of products like the Visconti traveling inkwells and the Pinida inkwells and all that sort of stuff that are designed to help us travel as fountain pen users while using bottled ink. Or you can just use the small diamine bottles or the Robert Oster bottles or any other range of like more indestructible bottle. But for the sake of convenience, I prefer to use cartridges for that purpose. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, the couple of things I'm going to cover today. Firstly is I'm going to show some of my favorite brands of cartridge that are out on the market that I enjoy using quite a lot, because of their range of colours and the inks that they actually put in them. I'll show a couple of pens I regularly use with cartridges, and what I'm going to just do a bit of my philosophy on the waste related to it. So let's start by talking about a few brands of cartridge. Now, there's a couple of inks that I've always loved from Mont Blanc, and it's really great that they actually come in cartridge form. Three of them being Irish Green, Mystery Black, and Lavender Purple. Now, these cartridges are affordable in comparison to Mont Blanc bottled ink, and it's still the same amazing ink in them. And so these are standard international, and I use them in a number of pens. Most of the cartridges I use are standard international for that reason, apart from two brands that I really enjoy using outside of that. But what the Mont Blanc inks do is they have those beautiful luxury inks in that cartridge form. So I can be in the middle of the outback in Australia, run out of ink and pop in a Mont Blanc ink cartridge without any issue whatsoever. Monteverde ink cartridges, they do a really lovely mixed set of ink cartridges, which is nice because it's their sort of standard inks once again. All these brands, it is their normal ink that they've put in the cartridges, but you do get a good range of colours in this packet. The same can also be said for Diamine, as well as doing their standard, little 6 and 18 ink cartridge packets like this. They do the Fiesta and the Royals set and all of those sorts of things, which are a combination of inks. So you get a variety. In fact, I did a trip where all I did was take one packet of the 20 mixed cartridges, and I had 5 colours over a period of weeks, and it was great to be able to just change colours as I wanted or as I needed. And here comes one of those points that I wanted to cover a little bit later. I'll just touch on it now, is the brass ink stoppers. I'll put a review for them. I reviewed them a while back. I'll put that review down in the comments below. These are great because if you want to change your ink but you don't want to waste the ink, you can just chuck this little brass stopper in the ink cartridge and it actually protects it really well. It stops it from drying out, spilling everywhere. They are super, super useful, and they are, once again, standard international. So in any of these ink cartridges, if I decide, I want to move to Monaco Red or whatever the case may be, I can take out what I've got, put the brass stopper in and move on. So you're stopping a little bit of waste there, both in terms of ink, but also in terms of the actual cartridge itself, because it's such a waste to throw that cartridge out when it is not finished yet. Like, if you're going to waste, at least use as much of the product as you can. Other brands I love. J. Herbin, mainly actually because of these little containers. I'm not a huge fan of the J. Herbin inks, but the transportability of this, the stability of this is really great because it actually allows you, these are sturdy and they're not going to break. So these are actually great if you use other inks as well. Put them in these little cartridge containers. There's also the Kaweco Traveler, where you can put in different cartridges. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll make up a mixed bag of different standard international ink cartridges, just fill up that Kaweco cartridge holder, and at random, the next one you get is just a different colour. And often what I'll do is I'll take a Sharpie and I'll just write on the edge of the cartridge what it is, because so many of these cartridges look the same. brands, like even if you get like 5 different diamine ink cartridges, and you've got 2 greens there, just write Sherwood on one and write teal on the other, whatever the case may be. The next brand is a favourite of mine. It's Graphon Faber-Castell, and their cartridges are really great. One of the reasons I love travelling and particularly love using these cartridges is that the ink isn't super wet. So if you're putting them in a pen, like pull up now, like a pocket pen like the Sean Design Pocket 6, you are carrying that pen in your pocket, and a lot of the times you're going to be using that may not be on fountain pen friendly paper. So having an ink that's not super wet and that performs really well just gives you the flexibility to be able to do that. And once again, the convenience of the cartridge, put a new one in. Now I mentioned 2 brands that aren't Standard International, and I've covered these before in other videos about cartridges and things, and that is Lamy and Pilot. Now Lamy's cartridges are quite handy because they are available quite readily around the place, and there are a lot of Lamy retailers worldwide. In Australia, they're everywhere. Pilot, more or less the same. So if I'm traveling with a Pilot Metropolitan, I generally don't. I travel with like a couple of pens, and one will sometimes be a pen that's not particularly expensive, like a Muji fountain pen or the Faber-Castell Loom or something like that. And so a Pilot Metropolitan is a pen that I will use quite regularly, and this is a great option for that. It's portable and you get quite a lot of ink, and these are super affordable. As I said, Lamy are available in a lot of places. I just have the black cartridges here. Standard black, always good. Lamy black's a great ink. And then for something a little bit different, and because I can, I have the dark lilac once again. Because they are widely available and they fit a pen that is quite robust, or a number of pens that are quite robust, the Safari, the All-Star, these are pens that travel really well. And so having cartridges like that on hand means that you can just go without having to carry bottled ink, without having to carry an inkwell. Liquid ink outside of its cartridge or its bottle is always going to be dangerous. So this is a way that you can do that without too much stress. So what pens do I use these in? Well, I've shown a couple already. The Sean Design Pocket 6. Pocket pens I find really handy when I travel. And most of the time, and I don't just mean traveling like interstate or overseas or whatever the case may be. It can even just be like, going to rehearsals or going to work when you're commuting or just getting around in everyday life. A pocket pen is really handy, and I've got a few favourites that I use regularly. Kaweco Sport, sometimes even the Lilliput, the tiny version. The Traveller's Company Brass pocket pen, which is just a beautiful pen, uses Standard International cartridge. This is great for real travelling because it is super durable and super fine and just reliable. But as I said, the Pocket 6 from Sean Design is a real favourite. Really often I'll use this with a cartridge of Diamine Oxford Blue. Just looks beautiful in this pen. It's got a nice nib on it. It's a good size. And this is great for, like, you could even just unscrew this and like tick something off a list just in its short form. It's not ideal, but you can do that. But in its long form, or its full form, this is actually a super comfortable pen for really long writing sessions because it's light, it's reliable, and it's a good sort of size. Standard pens that I carry, as I showed already, are the Muji fountain pen, Standard International cartridge, decent, reliable nib, good sturdy design, and actually really lovely for drawing with, I've found. And so often I'll put a black ink in this, like the Mont Blanc Mystery Black or something like that. Pelican 4001, whatever the case may be. But the main pen, and this is absolutely the main pen I will use while traveling. If I'm away from home for a period of time, like a few days at a time, this is one of those pens that I will always travel with. This is a pen I will fly with, never filled. This is the other beauty of cartridges that I found is if I'm traveling with a pen and ink, then when I get on the plane, I take the ink out, a cartridge, and they are affordable. Yes, you are creating waste, but they are. You can recycle the plastic in some places and things like that. So it is something you can think about and should think about. You can reuse them if you run them out at home or if you've got an ability to clean them. I often reuse them. I don't have converters for all of my pens. So I will often put a international cartridge in the pen, filled up with whatever ink using a syringe or whatever the case may be. But a pen like this, the Diplomat Excellence B, is a great pen to travel with. It's metal, it's sturdy, it's reliable, and it just has one of those nibs on it that just is a joy to write with. Diplomat do great steel nibs, and you're writing with a pen that is a really, really classy writing instrument and a really great writing instrument. So it's your choice of pen, cartridge, whatever the case may be, for travel, for getting around, for daily use, whatever the case may be. Cartridges are convenient, but there is a waste element with that. So how do you reconcile that? Well, as I said, you can recycle them in some places. I don't know the rules in every country, every state or territory within that, but there are places you can recycle that plastic. Clean them. If you decide not to run it out, clean it. Even if you do run it out, when you take it out of the pen, just flush it out and chuck it in the recycling. Try not to throw them away. Store them, keep them for use in other pens. Because if you're using bottled ink at home, these are a great option if you don't want to be constantly, using converters and things like that. So a nice option is that, but there is waste. You are creating plastic waste. If anyone knows of environmentally friendly cartridges that are like biodegradable or whatever the case may be, I'd love to know, because that is something that I'm keen on pushing more and more into my own use. As I said, I refill them. I rarely throw them out. If I don't want to use all the ink, I will put that stopper in. I did it for weeks recently, changing between a couple of different inks. Flush the pen out, put the next cartridge in, but stop that old one so you can still use it. You can still actually keep the ink, because you don't want to waste that either. After all, you're spending money on these things. Like, these aren't the cheapest form of ink. They're convenient, but they're not the cheapest form of ink. So always keep that in mind. So that is why I use cartridges, and that's how I mainly use my cartridges. It's mainly for travel or for pocket pens and things like that. It is convenient. It's easy to travel with them. You can travel with a large amount of different inks. Just even here, if I just grab this handful of cartridges, there's 14 different colors of ink in this handful. So, and who's going to use that many cartridges? That's a lot of writing. And that's the beauty of cartridges also, is that you do get a lot out of them. A standard international cartridge takes more ink in than most pilot converters. So something to keep in mind. As I said, let me know if you know of really environmentally friendly cartridges. If you can't find those, think about how you can recycle them, how you can continue to use them. Get a brass stopper, cap it with a hot glue gun, whatever the case may be. Don't waste it. Don't waste the ink. Don't waste the plastic. Be good to the environment. For the most part, I really suggest using bottled ink with a converter. That is what I do for 90% of my fountain pen use. I love my piston filling pens, so they have to use bottled ink. I have 300 bottles of ink that I use, all of them. If I don't use an ink, I pass it on to someone else. There's no point in keeping that. So always keep that as your priority. I think that is the strength. And there's such a variety of colors, much wider in bottled ink form than there are in cartridges. A lot of brands don't make cartridges. Robert Oster doesn't make cartridges. He's got over 100 and something colors of ink widely available. And they're beautiful colors. They're worth investigating. So that's my preference, is bottled ink. And that is my suggestion to everyone, is to use bottled ink where you can and where it's possible. But in those moments where you can't, there is such a wide variety of beautiful colours available from Diamine, Faber-Castell, Monteverde, that Monteverde pack, the Mont Blanc. The list goes on. Lamy have a great range of inks, of their inks available in cartridge form. In fact, Violet is only available in cartridge form. But there are so many brands that do them. So if you are using them, find inks you love, find inks you're going to want to use and not waste. But the convenience of being able to take it out when you fly, or when I get to my destination, I just pop a cartridge in and I'm good to go. And also, a cartridge doesn't hold that much ink to spill out if you do keep it on the flight. So lots of things to think about. Really me just like rambling about ink cartridges for 15 minutes. So thank you for watching. I hope you found something there that's interesting and useful. As I said, I want to hear from you, what you use, what you enjoy, how you use them. all that sort of thing. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and all of that sort of stuff. Get in touch with me using any of the platforms listed below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, get in touch. If there's a way you'd like to support my channel, and this is really important, your support makes this channel possible. So if you are a retailer or you are a manufacturer or a maker and you really want to get your stuff seen, I'm more than happy to share it. Get in touch and let's talk about how we can make that possible. It's your sponsorship that makes this channel possible. I buy a lot of the things myself, but I wouldn't be able to produce half the content I do if there weren't generous people who provided me with pens and ink and notebooks, wonderful companies and wonderful individuals out there who are super supportive of spreading the love of fountain pens and all the associated stationery with you and with me and with everyone who comes across my videos. So thank you for watching, thank you for supporting my channel, and I'll talk to you soon.